Hi, welcome back to Let's Build. Well, today we're going to build the brand new Cavalcade XL, which you can buy for 1.6 million and change on southern San Andreas. Now, I wasn't going to build this. It's not even really my sort of car, and I'm not quite sure where I'm going to store it. But I did a little bit of research on this car ahead of time, just in case. And to my absolute amazement, Rockstar have bought it out with all the parts from one of the cars I considered building, and for that reason I just couldn't wait to build it. This is a special version of the car by Larte Design, who basically customise top-end vehicles to make them look a bit different. Now, whether you like the looks or not is of course subjective. I'm not quite sure that I do, but what I do really appreciate is A, Rockstar giving us all the right pieces, and B, by pepping up the car like this a bit, we've sort of made a GTA car, haven't we? We've taken something and made it a little bit wild. It's a bit like building a Mansory car. You get the satisfaction of a real life build, but it looks a bit different. So we need to get this into the workshop. We'll build it, and then there will be chapter marks, because after the build I'll give it a quick drive around and we'll see what we think of this new car. Just before we start, I've been through all the parts already, so we can do this fairly swiftly, and I'm going to paint the car a disgusting pink on the bottom, yellow on the top, and that's purely so that you can see the colour distribution that we have on the car whilst we're doing the build. Starting then with the arch covers. The standard arches look fine, they look like the real thing. All these copy arches are very much like the Larte Design ones, really close at the front, not quite as close at the back after all. The copyright department has to do something at Rockstar. They're carbon for real life, so we're going to select carbon covers. Onto the armour, which I'll take to full. The brakes I'll take to full. For the bumpers, now on the front bumpers, right at the bottom, the carbon street splitter is really close. We've got the little lights, and we have the shape that almost looks like a rear diffuser with all the little vertical parts. The only difference between this and the one we're trying to build is this one also has that horizontal part along the bottom, which we can do nothing about. It's the closest one. The rear, the bumpers seem a little strange. They're nearly all sort of stock looking or different colours. What I wanted to do is fill in this piece in the bottom with the more aggressive section, but that simply isn't available in the game, so out of all the options I just stayed stock. Engine, of course, to maximum. I mean, why would you not do that? And exhaust stock. These are the only twin square or rectangular exhausts that we have, so another easy choice. I wish we could have them a bit darker. Front fenders, it's really this paint distribution, and also the option I think to put some black on, yes, with the carbon. At the end of the day, if you look at the photos, we just want to stay with stock just for the even divide between the two colours. With the grille, again, Rockstar have provided almost the right grille. All the good ones are down the bottom, and I want sort of carbon on here. I can't have that one in carbon. I can have it in black plastic, it seems a bit too dark. I want it a bit lighter. So what I'm actually going to do is paint it in the primary colour, because the primary colour is going to be a sort of grey colour, and I just think that would look slightly better, but you really could pick plastic if you preferred and wanted it to be slightly darker. For the hood, again, thank you Rockstar for the carbon hood, the carbon GT hood, with this great big ram air vent on the top and the triangular bits on the side. It's perfect. The lights, they're so tiny, I don't think it really matters whether you go stock xenon or car meter, it's up to you really. For the livery, I would love that little pinstripe down the side, but it doesn't exist. Just so you can see, there's racing stripes, there's stripes with sort of cavalcade on the side, and then the really weird camouflages. That's your lot on those. Not a massive selection, I don't think. Mirrors, we want the carbon mirrors. For the number plate, up to you. I don't have an SUV one, I'll just go yellow on black as being the most appropriate and pop my name on it. For the respray, okay, for the primary colour I want a sort of satin, if I can get it, a satin light grey. If you can't do satin, I think matte is also fine. But we will put some satin on later, and we will go in fact to Los Santos Customs to do that glitch, which I'm not convinced is available on all platforms, but it does certainly work on PC. And classic black on the top, and now it is starting to come together. we want some solid chrome roof rails for the roof, ones that aren't raised up a bit, and the second option, stock chrome roof rack. Perfect. Onto the skirts. You know, I think stock might work. I struggled with the photos to work out which was better. I prefer slightly the plastic performance skirts. So I would say either of the top two options on there are fine. And for the spoiler, again, Rockstar took the Larte spoiler. At least I assume it's the Larte one. So we want it to match the roof, so secondary for the spoiler there. Stock suspension is perfect. It's very amusing when you dump it to the floor. But no, stock is what we want. I'll max out the transmission, but I'll leave the turbo so it doesn't make noises, because my guess is that this car just simply has an enormous planet-killing V8. Onto the wheels. I want to give a nod to the stock wheels for looking so good, and I'm sure there's many builds will happily put these on the car. But they're not right for this build, because Larte put massive 24-inch wheels on with very thin, low-profile tyres, so we need to head into one of the other sections. What I want are long spokes, evenly spaced, that go to the absolute edge of the rim, and I'm afraid they don't quite exist. But if you go into the SUV section appropriately enough, you'll find these Loz Speed 10. Now there are other wheels that you might prefer. I have simply chosen these ones as being wrong, but close. I've gone for chrome to get the chrome finish on the spokes. It has of course put chrome behind, which the Larte car doesn't have. There are some wheels in the sport category with less spokes, but you can have different colours. So do go through all of them and find what is the best compromise wheel for you. I nearly forgot, but of course we do want to stop and pop the bulletproof tyres on. Then down to the windows, where I think it's between dark smoke and limo. Looking at the photos, limo is just so dark that in the end I do opt for dark smoke. That finishes the build, apart from the fact I'd like to have a quick fiddle with the paint, so let's just do that first. Okay, this glitch, which I've shown in other places, works on PC. Let me know down below if it works on your platform of choice. So I'm going to start again with a different colour. I'm now going to select light grey matte into metallic, flick through a load of random options, and then back out as far as the number plate, where I'll change the plate to something that I don't want, just briefly. And then back into the primary colour, and bingo, I can now have a pearlescent on my matte. Well, I had to speed up time here. I spent ages trying to choose the right pearlescent. See, I'm trying to not negatively affect the black too much, but to add a sheen onto the light grey. That turned out not to be that simple. After a lot of messing around, I actually went with the anthracite black, which doesn't add too much shine to the black, but adds a very subtle sheen to the matte. Now we come outside to inspect the final build of the car, and then we go back inside again because I forgot to do the number plate because I have the memory of a goldfish. Okay, with that done, let's take the car out now, let's have a drive and some first impressions. Well, right off the bat, I can tell you I am very, very pleased to, if you like, find the secret build that Rockstar had hidden among the parts, and I'm very pleased with the way this car looks versus the real thing. There is slightly more sheen on that grey paint, not as much as I would like, but I don't think we've ruined the black, so happy overall. And I think on next gen you just leave it as a matte grey anyway. Driving the car then, it's not that quick. I mean, let's get that out of the way. It's not that slow either. It just sits in that happy middle ground where you happily drive it round the place, but you wouldn't really be racing it or anything. What I'm starting to notice even early on in the drive is how well it goes round corners. Now I'm voicing this over in retrospect, and as the drive goes on I start to increasingly push the car harder and harder on the corners, and it remains impressively neutral. I don't know what this car would do for real. I'm sure it would lean more, and I don't know, I get the funny feeling it might even understeer for the real car, but no, this one is neutral. This is a sort of mid-engine Lotus neutral. It's quite incredible, and then when it really hits a limit you can get a little bit of oversteer out of it, or especially if you jerk the car around you get a bit of oversteer. But yeah, very impressive. This road here, because the car's not too quick. I do an awful lot of this road just with the W or accelerate pressed down all the time, and just take the corners at whatever speed and the car goes round. So yeah, it's good. I'm going to do a brake test in about 20 seconds time, trying to crash to the back of something and seeing how late I can leave it to brake. Spoilers, it does really well. In summary then, with this car, if I keep it, which is down really to room and collections, I don't think it will get driven a great deal, even though it is actually very accomplished for what it does. I don't particularly pick an SUV to drive around in. I don't even pick the Taurus, which is possibly still the best in its class, certainly on PC. There we are, there's the brake check. Works really well. So if I was buying this car and I was building this Larte car, I probably would just save my money on the bulk of the sort of armour and performance upgrades and simply build it as a cool looking real world car to put in my SUV collection. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed the build and some early driving impressions of this car. I've got quite a few requests lined up. A number of them have been filmed, but nothing's yet been turned fully into a video, but I'll try and crack on with those a little bit. I imagine there'll be a deep dive along on Sunday as well, so that will most likely be the next video out. We'll see how things go. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and thank you so much for watching.